Okay. Alright. Look. Welcome to part 2 of Day 9 Daily number 674. We're learning to be a better gamer thanks to Stork and herO! And it's not Liquid herO, it's CJantis herO. I know I just cut my potential stream numbers in half, but I do it for the sake of appropriate credit, and because I gave him a back massage at MLG. It's not uncommon. In part 1, we talked about just the opening, staying safe, and some of the benefits of this 3-gate blink into Robo. What I want to do now is talk about another frustration point for players in PvP. Going into the mid and late game, the Colossus is one of the big dominating factors in the game. Because Colossus slaughter all the basic gateway units. Sentries, Zealots, Stalkers, slaughters them! Colossus are way good! And in fact, in Wings of Liberty, it was just a Colossus game. That was it. You went Colossus. And so some people will encounter these fights where it's like 5 Colossus versus 7 Colossus, and I guess I had fewer Colossus, and there we go. And that kind of feels not good. It feels like there's no way to win in those circumstances where you fall behind. What we're going to see in part 2 is that we can still take this idea of the Colossus being one of our core units, and we can extend that to always having a way to retreat. And I want to emphasize that we're not going to try to kill our opponents a lot. We're going to try to find ways to retreat. So we'll start off and we'll watch the build up to these Colossus forces and what some of the thought processes are there. And then we'll talk about what the movements are and what some of the laws that many Protosses are following nowadays with that. One last caveat is that we have seen a rise of Immortal Archon in the matchup as another potential alternative to going for big Colossus. And the reason this is working in Heart of the Swarm is that we always have our friendly Tempest to help back us up. Immortal Archon slaughters Colossus forces in small numbers. And I mean slaughters them in small numbers. But what about when they get big? I only need 2 or 3 Tempests and then I'm okay. But one of the reasons why that Immortal Archon force works is that it relies on a very open map. It relies on bases 1, 2, and 3 being very spread out. As we look at this map, we see not only are those bases not spread out, but like the main and the third are right next to each other. As I come to here, I mean, like, I think this is probably the most important thing. If I have Colossus here, Immortal Archon can't really get to it. I'm still defending the third, I'm defending the natural. I mean, I can park myself here and shoot and retreat up to a cliff. It's so easy to defend against those sorts of attacks. So on this particular map, people will favor Colossus. Almost always. So we're kind of ignoring the Immortal Archon stuff right now, because I think that it's oftentimes a little more clear what you need to be doing if you're the Colossusing player and he's not. But here I want to look at when both players are Colossusing. Where do edges lie when it seems like everyone's doing kind of the same thing? So let me zoom back in, let me hit my play button. So one thing that I love right out the gate that both these players are doing is just scouting. Really good scouting with that. 1 sentry's like enough. Why don't we want more sentries? Aren't lots of sentries great? Nah, they just get slain so violently badly by Colossus that getting more than like 2 or 3 is often not so great. So Stork's actually quite a ways behind on the expansion, and herO sees this. Stork has no idea about herO's, I guess he does, he knows exactly that it's done. So now what Stork is saying to himself is, crap, I have to make an attack work. I'm behind on bases, I have to apply some pressure, right? That's what the normal rules would imply to you. It's not wildly far behind, it's a 1 probe difference right now. But herO's been pretty good about these pylon placements. So it's sort of keeping Stork back. So Stork does, I think, some very wise moves. Oops. What Stork does is he just gets a total of 3 sentries. This can open up opportunities to do some more nifty things, but 3 is about the number of sentries that you want in this matchup to be able to constantly throw down hallucinations. We're also seeing a similar sort of move out of herO. But herO's elected to do some gateway pressure. This is a way of herO saying, aha, I'm going to try to catch you at an economically weak time and just kill you. But Stork scouts it. Now, a very weird but important law. It doesn't really matter, in a lot of ways, if you are ahead in the economy right now. What matters is that big engagement that will happen in the mid-game. That's actually all that matters. I think very famously, Hasuwabs was in a 2-base versus 4-base Protoss vs. Protoss game. And he got the magical engagement, slaughtered his opponent in that attack, and then there was nothing the opponent could do. Because once you have like 5 or 6 Colossus to no Colossus, the no Colossus player can't win, period. Unless he has like only Void Ray. I mean, it's not even a play at that point. So here we can generally say, wow, Stork's behind, right? Isn't that bad that he's so behind? But we see the versatility of Blink Stalkers. First, shutting these rocks down. Moving down to the bottom of his ramp and going for the Colossus. Stork is going to begin that Colossus count early. I would call Stork's play this game as sort of like the canonical, here's what you want to do to get ahead sort of play. Play very safely. Get your expands. Get your geysers early. So here's Stork starting to go, uh-oh, I'm sensing an attack coming. Well, I mean, he saw these gateways, so that's one. And you can do cute things where you abandon your defenses at the front side and try to go for tactics like this, and it can be pretty effective. Why is herO comfortable doing this? Because he has more gateways, so he knows he can out-reinforce his opponent. And you can just do these sexy split-ups where you like... Remember, you both have blink, so if you can catch him in one blink, you can do some punishment. Pretty cool play from herO, right? Pretty snazzy. But always remember that a Nexus is a Nexus. So it's super duper, super mooper duper booper strong. Nexus cannon plus blink, everything's kind of even. I mean, look, Stork even wound up with the probe lead. Oh, we don't even have a lot of probes getting killed. So, what we've done is we've seen herO take an opportunity to maybe do a timing attack, something cool and nifty. But let's look at the important rule that we've talked about throughout part 1. You can always retreat. And as long as you prepare yourself to always be able to retreat, you're in good shape. So here is what the average bear looks at in this moment and goes, oh man, I want to be the guy to do that sweet force field combo and catches Blink Stalkers with their pants down. But what such players will neglect to notice is what herO's doing with these other units. His Immortals and Sentries. Look at that. This is such a freaking important moment. Look at this. These just go home. They're just chilling. I mean, I can't even emphasize that enough. I mean, look at this. See, look, everything's moving forward. In fact, if I click Control Group 1, look at that. All the Sentries and Immortals are there. And then he just sends everything back and pulls away the Immortal Sentry. What frickin' good play. Because he can always retreat with the Stalkers, but he can't always retreat with the Immortal Sentry. The Immortal Sentry at this point is like a convoy to protect the Blink Stalkers. So let's see what's going on in their respective bases. Stork's doing the smart thing, beginning his Colossus production early. Hasn't started his range yet. It's more important that our Colossus count is high. We need to start that, because when we go high on the Colossus count, we'll have plenty of time to get that. But what's happening over here in Camp herO? I think a very clever move that he does is he gets a forge very fast. herO might be behind on the colossus count temporarily, but my god, he's definitely going to get himself an upgrade lead. So here's the moment in time where things just tend to chill. Lots of immortal production. Wahoo! Building all the immortals. Building probes and colossus. And continued scouting. You know, if I hit this V button and go to the up close and personal view, the only reason Stork's having trouble scouting is that his sentries were lost in that attack. Very smart move from herO to have killed those off. And herO's just tossing out those phoenixes like crazy, the hallucinated ones. And then he gets a second robo. Hell yeah. And then begins getting his colossus count up. So you're kind of seeing the same rule as before. Get the colossus count before you want to begin getting the range. More colossus is more important than getting range. Frickin' always. And then we wind up in a situation very similar to Protoss versus Terran, where both players are adding on gateways without actually producing out of the gateways. There's the ability to warp in 5 of anything right now. And if I click over here on the Stork cam, doink, 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 and select his active warp gates, he can warp in on all of them. But he's not. Instead, what Stork's doing is he's trying to be as active as he can with those blink stalkers. Active and cautious as possible. Now, let me stop all analysis to show how funny this fight is. So he tries to blink away, and the stalker, run! And then herO tries to chase after it, and then he's like, oh my god, shit! And traps 5 of them down there. And some nice micro, and I guess, yeah, I guess cool. Oh, I love that so much. It's so good. Oh, wonderful. So, we still kind of have this shape of stalkers being the aggressive move-outer dudes. Stalkers being the ones to wander away from home and everything else. In fact, I call it a 2.25 army. Because Zealots have a 2.25 move speed. Sentries have a 2.25 move speed. Immortals have a 2.25 move speed. Colossus have a 2.25 move speed. And Mothership Cores are worse than that. Stalkers with their powerful 2.95. Ooh! Those are the ones that are allowed to move out. Cool. Now, with all this extra money that's getting built up, we see a third base going down pretty quickly. I would call it concurrent with the buildup of Colossus. We're throwing down that third base. Now, there's some maps in which this can be pretty dangerous to throw down this early. I think that a reasonable enough one is Belshir Vestige. On Belshir Vestige, the third is sort of, if we pretend that this is Belshir Vestige, it kind of goes like, you know, main here, second base, and then the third base is way over to the side. It's very easy to get, you know, harassed over here and then harassed over here with, you know, warp prisms, and the Colossus kind of struggle to go in between. But on this map, remember, look at how close these are. Very defendable. Cloud Kingdom, an example of a very nice, easy, defendable base. What are other examples that are still in the map pool? Yonsu would be one that's a little harder too, because if you're expanding sort of as first, second, third, and there's like this line, they can hit your third and your main alternating times, but not Scrap Station. Oh my god, the station map. I'm sorry, I'm blanking out. Star Station. Star Station. A very easy one to hold. I can't believe I'm forgetting on these. There's the 4-player map that went down to 2-player map, and that's Star Station. What's the 2-player map called again? I can't believe I'm forgetting. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Wiki.teamliquid.net. Open up. StarCraft 2. Come on. Maps. Derelict Watcher. Jesus. Okay, Derelict Watcher is another relatively nice one to be able to do this. Oh my god, that was hard. Habitation stations and other... habitation stations a little trickier, but the important thing that I would say is the third, second, and main are all relatively easy to defend with the same colossus. So we get the chance to see this. So yeah, I like this. This expand right away from herO. And then this just silly fight. Silly fight, silly fight. Now, often we'd say to ourselves, Stork is in a bad position. He's building up gateways, he's getting charge, which isn't... Oh, actually, let me start from the other side. So here we have Stork, who might have identified to himself, oh gee, is going to be able to mass up Colossus really fast. He's going for a third really fast. I've already seen that and killed it off once with my stalkers, but he's probably going for it again. And I think I have the lead in Colossus right now, because I went for it so dang fast. But gee, I don't know if I have the lead in Colossus for a long time. It's probably a temporary lead. So let's watch Stork exploit this and still provide himself the opportunity to retreat. He still has the opportunity to retreat. Let's see this. So here's the trigger. Ooh, you went for a 5-gate play because I scouted these 2 gateways early. And I held it off. And I was getting Colossus. Nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add on my warp gates. I'm going to continue to send my Phoenix scouts out. Here we see it's moving around. Ooh. +1 forge, we always want that. Are we going to chrono boost this? Well, let's see. First, Stork recognizes, wow, there's a second robo going on. And now, what to do? Should I wait for this? Well, Stork's obviously going to go take a Nexus of his own, and he's going to go make a very fast push on his enemy. Now, I will note, even though Stork is ahead in the supply count, 119 to 106, that's kind of an illusion. It doesn't really matter in a lot of ways once the Colossus count gets high. It's these 8 Zealots that are sort of the hidden, unused supply. If we just get rid of those, we drop this by 16, and we see that herO's actually a little bit ahead. Because herO is building Colossus 2 at a time, and is about to get himself ground weapons 2. So cool, the Phoenix from herO, scouting everything that's going on. So here comes Stork. Now look at this push angle that he's performing. The Mothership Core is going to be able to see down this alley, and these Colossus are going to be able to shoot down this alley if herO's making an attack right now. So there's a nice little defensive opportunity. But Stork is going to attack at an angle which provides him the most reasonable opportunity to retreat, and one of the safest possible engagement angles. He's just going to hit this from the side. Beautiful timing. He's lining this charge right up with it. I'm going to briefly ignore this fight to note that as you're approaching in on like 6 or 7 Colossus, you do want High Templar for Archons. That's the sort of rounding out. It's just a Colossus Archon final mix that you're looking for. So look at this just very nice engagement angle. And he can always retreat. He can always retreat. Goes in there, picks off a geyser. Perfect. Can always retreat. Not a big deal to be behind on minerals because Zealots are so irrelevant in the late game. But nice to pick off a geyser. And look at Stork desperately getting up his own geysers. Cool. I do think Stork has a few too many Zealots for what he would finally want in a final mix, but for now, it's reasonable enough because he pulled that aggressive move off. Now, what I want to briefly do is come back and look at herO, because I think that herO does an amazing job of transitioning his buildings super safely. So here's back when herO was just beginning his Colossus production. Great. Second Robo coming up. Lots of chrono boosts on this forge. Taking the third right away. Loses the third, no big deal. Taking it again. Boom. Just getting himself all the wonderful Colossus. And let's look at what else is going on in this production. Just Colossus. Ooh, we have a lot of extra minerals. Whatever will we do with those minerals? Well, a photon cannon to deal with any sort of DTs and just for some extra defense and detection. But then it's just going to be gateways. Gateways, gateways, gateways. These two zealots are moving out just to find proxy pylons. But we see 6 gateways. herO's going to get more gateways. Even more cannons. 1 in his main, 1 in his natural. Playing safe. Just, I mean, beyond the initial stalkers and sentries, or excuse me, beyond the initial stalkers and sentries, we see that it's pretty much just Colossus production and gateway production. Should a huge push come in, yeah, build yourself your damn gateways. Or excuse me, build yourself your damn zealots. But for here, herO's in perfectly fine shape to just mass up Colossus. And chill. Now, it is true that an only Colossus force is going to be a little bit problematic. It does have vulnerabilities. And a great way to beat an only Colossus force is Immortals and Archons, but we'll look at that in a second. Notice how the only thing that's really active is these Stalkers. Just opening himself up some opportunities later on. Getting Archons, getting Archons. A Warp Prism. Really important. We'll talk about that in a bit. But we see herO is just moving out, carefully pulling himself around to this extremely safe side angle, and is going to begin a big attack. I would probably say that, like, somewhere between 7 and 9 is, like, enough Colossus. That's when you really want to just be building other things. I'd actually probably even say 7 or 8. And what I love that herO does is 2 things. One, he begins chrono boosting out Immortals. Why? Because very often all the gateway units will evaporate immediately, and you'll have Colossus versus Colossus, and if you have some more Immortals, you crush through. Also, by getting Immortals right now, you free up tons and tons of gas to get more Archons, which will also help in those Colossus versus Colossus fights. A very lucky Colossus strike happened right back there, picking this one off. Here's where we see the Warp Prism in action. This is one of these times when we really do love having all those gateways built up. We can warp in Zealots right on top of the Colossus. So we see Stork warping in Zealots on the backside. Notice that some of the shots from the Colossus are happening right there. Notice how in this army, let me just make a box like this. Okay, I'll try to make a box. If I select this, here are all the red Zealots. Actually, let me do the direct in the battle box. Okay, in this, we see that there's 2 Zealots, 7 Stalkers, and everything else is a Colossus or an Immortal, because that's how fast those die. Therefore, these Warp Prism warp-ins are super strong. It just stinks that Stork didn't quite have his gateways done yet. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on, like, the micro in this battle. Throw down the time warps in spots where you can maximize your Colossus, killing their gateway units and prevent his Colossus from getting away. What I want to note is how gentle and cautious herO is. He's engaging at an angle where he'll probably have a good concave. The instant he starts to walk here, notice that this is a narrower spot. This is a narrower spot than this concave. So he just chills there. In fact, all he's really done is kill off a probe and threaten a geyser. Those Immortals are coming up, but they're not really getting the chance to be involved. But thank goodness all these extra Archons arrived, because it's allowing herO to do a little bit more extra pushing. Stork has not had the best fight. He's lost a lot more. And if we look at My roommates are going crazy out there. If we just look at the pure numbers of it, there's an extra Colossus on hero's side, an extra Archon, 2 extra Immortals. The juicier army is certainly on hero's side. And he tries to go for something good, but he's not forcing it. Hero's continually pulling back, waiting for reinforcements, playing really careful, picking off some probes. In total, he's killed 6 or 7 in this fight. I mean, a lot of action happened there, but hero's always left himself this opportunity to retreat. And, oh, my favorite move of all, he's preparing to expand here. Oh, how I love the Expo. And I mean, you could argue that maybe hero's would have won this had he stayed. Maybe, just maybe, hero's could have pulled this off if he had microed like a superstar. Blinking on Colossi is a really easy way to lose everything you have. Maybe he could have pulled this off A-okay, but the instant things started to look bad, hero's pulled back. Now, if we just do like a straight analysis, we're like, oh yeah, look, more stuff's over here. Cool. Oh, look at the supply count. It's looking good. Look at production. Oh yeah, 2 Colossus are being made by hero's. But he just retreats. He just safely retreats. He tries to conserve the Colossus count. He maybe could have target fired to kill off more probes, but you know what? He killed off some probes. Conservation, safe stuff, and not only does he expand while attacking, he expands in a location that is defended by this attack point. The attack and the retreat both defend that. Cool. When we come back, we're going to close this out by seeing 2 very important things happen. For one, we're going to see how Stork, who's a little bit behind, start to claw his way back with some amazing Warp Prism play and some Zealot harassment. And then we're going to learn one of the most important rules of Protoss vs. Protoss. Economy is nowhere near as important as that perfect big engagement. And Stork is going to wind up losing because of that. hero's going to easily win by permitting probes to die and playing carefully in a sort of weird way. And we'll see that in part 3.